All right, are we on air? I just want to make sure I don't get feedback from the live stream. Let me just double check something. Okay, there we go. I'm going on live. Yeah, okay, there. I have muted the volume. Hello there, Culture Eater. So it's Sunday afternoon, about 2:20 Eastern time. And yeah, I thought I would just do a very spontaneous live stream. As you know, I was away in Mexico for about 10 days. I came back very late Tuesday night. And my plan was maybe not to have a video out this week, but to at least start to have some this coming week and start getting my Mexico content out. And that's not going to happen. And I'll tell you why. So yeah, I titled the live stream, How Mexico Tried to Kill Me 2.5 times, but I still love Mexico. Hi, Jesse. Glad you're here. You might be the only one that shows up since it's so spontaneous. Yeah, so the point is it's going to be a short live stream. It's just that I didn't want to leave you guys without content for like 3 weeks, since I won't be well enough to put out a video this week. But yeah, why did Mexico try to kill me 2.5 times? Kind of like the reason I chose that title, and I think it's something that people don't really think about, is that when you go on vacation, you go with the expectation that everything is going to have to be perfect, that you're going to be in perfect health, that everything is going to be perfect, that you're going to have an amazing time, and that's just not the reality. Life goes on, your health goes on, and things happen. So it was a very challenging trip for both me and my travel partner, Natasha, from the channel Artist Explores the World. So make sure to go check her out. She'll be getting great content out too. But we both arrived in Mexico with a medical pre-existing issue. She had pulled out her back and basically got better throughout the trip, but suffered throughout the trip and was on heavy medication, but she persevered. And I've had borderline asthma for like the longest time, but I never had issues. But like a couple of weeks before the trip, I had like a small but like 12-hour long asthma attack, and it just never recovered. So basically I spent my entire trip coughing. Any physical exertion was really difficult for me, considering especially Mexico City is an extremely polluted city. Apparently it's at its worst in January and February. Didn't know that. So that really didn't help my asthma side. So I was coughing all the time. My throat was in pain for the first 7 days out of 10 days. But you're in Mexico, you're on holiday, you don't let that stop you. Probably did not help the asthma a bit, but you know, it didn't stop us from doing anything. So that's my 0.5, because we both arrived with pre-existing conditions. Mexico City, I was told by several people ahead of time that you have to be very careful when you walk, because the sidewalks are random, constantly going up and down. And have holes in them. Like there's manholes that have parts of the metal or the cement that's like rusted or broken through. You got to be really careful where you walk. So I was very careful in Mexico City. For some stupid reason, I wasn't when we went to Bacalar. Bacalar is in the very southeast of Mexico. Close to Chetumal, which is the airport we landed in, very, very close to Belize, and it is paradise. Absolute paradise. Can't wait to show you those videos. It's just amazing. But yeah, we got there late, went out for dinner, walked back, walked on the other side of the street, and then the one we had used to go from our Airbnb to the city center, and I just wasn't paying attention. It's my own fault. but there was like 2/3 of the sidewalk was done, and then 1/3 of the sidewalk was just, dropped like 1.5 feet. Didn't pay attention, and that's where I stepped, with my left foot. So my left foot went down, like falling, stepping 1.5 feet, and ended up falling and landing on my knee. And I sprained this finger. It's still sensitive, but it's not broken, thank God. And grazed my right knee, and that's just a really fun wound that's not infected, but having a really fun time healing that. So that's when Mexico tried to kill me. One time, completely. So, next thing you know, I'm already coughing. I have a sore throat. Now I'm injured. I mean, I still was able to sit down, take my breath, and it didn't, nothing was broken. I got up, I managed to walk back to our Airbnb. There was a local person nearby who saw the accident, and he completely freaked out. It looked a lot worse than it was. So I still have a couple of little issues, but that was kind of like another little setback. And then, then on our last day at Bacalar, thank you, Jesse. We got a private tour with a taxi driver, and we went to explore 3 Mayan ruins, which was amazing, especially the last 2 ones. We were alone. Like there was not a single other tourist there at all. It was an absolutely magical experience. And on our way back, the taxi driver wanted us to stop and have a meal with him at a restaurant on the side of the road in the country. Not a good idea, because you don't know what the hygiene situation is there. She had a lot of cooked dishes, lots of cooked meats and stuff. But looking back on it, I'm not sure there was a heat source. I don't know how long it had been there. I don't think we got food poisoning. Both my travel partner and I got sick. Food poisoning happens relatively quickly after eating, from 30 minutes to 6 hours. It hit us 12, well, no, it was more like 20 hours for my friend and 40 hours for me later. So we think we got the norovirus, whereas food poisoning is bacteria. I think we got a virus. But that we both lost a day, different days of our trip. And I'm still recovering from that. Without getting too disgusting, I didn't vomit. That wasn't my issue. But I lost like 13 pounds in the last week, and I'm still extremely weak and having a lot of problems eating. I'm having a really hard time eating enough. So I'm very, very weak as well. So these are all complications that can happen in a trip that are unexpected, and that most people would use as an excuse to say that their trip is entirely ruined. And yes, it had an effect. I kind of couldn't appreciate food for the second half of the trip, which is kind of hard when you're a food blogger too, and you really want to try all the food there. But I think the lesson to learn out of all of this is, when you're on vacation, things might not go perfect, but you have to keep a positive attitude, because you don't want to ruin your entire trip. It was a challenge. We had definitely big barriers to circum, but we didn't let it stop us. We took some time to rest. Yeah, I might have brought back. Yeah, if you want to say, Jesse's saying if I did not bring a few friends back, did you? Well, I did bring a virus back, but I don't think I'm contagious anymore. So yeah, you just have to keep going. We rested when we had to. We both had to take a day off, and that was sad because both of us lost a prepaid tour that we had bought. The other person still went, so we still got to live vicariously through the other person. Excuse me, I'm still coughing. But we soldiered on, and we still enjoyed the trip. And Mexico was an absolutely amazing, overwhelming experience. I had never been to Mexico before, and through my normal work, kind of touches a little bit in the travel industry, but not directly.
I'm so used to seeing people going to resorts and spending the week in a resort by the beach. And that was my absolute nightmare of experiencing Mexico for the first time. My goal was to really try and get a slice of real life there. So that's why we chose Mexico City as our main destination in the big city. And, you know, we were in an Airbnb, not in a tourist area that much. Go do your grocery shopping, really mingle more with the locals. And our sort of our vacation within our vacation at Bacalar is also not very much an international destination. It's very, I mean, there's backpackers, it's starting, but it's also a very Mexican destination. Of the animal kind, no, didn't bring any animals either, Jesse. So I really felt like we really got to know the local people a little bit more. And to me, that's the most precious thing, taking the subway with them, even at rush hour, which is insane. It's a huge city. There's 22 million people. We really experienced some kitsch things, but the kitsch things we experienced was like the day that first day we took a tour at the Xochimilco canals, which is kind of like called the little Venice of Mexico. We were there on the weekend, so it's super kitsch experience, but it's something that families and friends in Mexico City or Mexican tourists do. So it was it was nuts. Like there's just these colored boats, and it's jam-packed, crowded, like major traffic highway, like kind of like on this canal, and every boat has like 20, 30 people, and they've got each their ghetto blasters going on with these like really loud Latin music. It was an awesome experience because if you go on a weekday when it's probably actually real tourists, it would probably be boring. So we really immersed ourselves as much as possible, and that was really wonderful. So even though we had a lot of health issues, we both also had family issues back home that happened, sad things to both of us in parallel at the end of the trip. We really made the most of it. We both really, really loved it. So there's definitely going to be a lot of content to come, like a lot. Like I have about almost 50 gigabytes of video content to come. And compared to, I'm going to do it differently than I have in my past trips. In the past trips, I always kind of tried to do one day, one video. And that was very overwhelming work-wise for me and maybe too much for my audience to absorb. So I'm definitely going to be breaking it down into a lot more videos this time. There's going to be Mexico content for quite a while. But we did a lot of little food tasting videos, which are going to be really fun. And we'll just explore the attractions or things we saw a little more concentrated, spend a little more time on each thing that I saw rather than showing you what I did in a whole day. I think you'll enjoy it more. I think you'll get a better idea of Mexico City and Bacalar from that experience. It's a destination where people are afraid of going because people have this assumption that it's very unsafe. There's a lot of stereotype about that, about Mexico City, and that's not the case. Honestly, never felt unsafe on the entire trip. Of course, there's some bad neighborhoods you don't go to, like anywhere else, and odds are you're not going to end up there anyways as a tourist. We did end up in certain lesser, higher class areas in the evening after sunset, but still we were careful and it was completely safe. The most careful we had to be is when we went to the Mercado de la Merced, which is the food, basically the food market, which is just massive. It's like 10 by 4 blocks, all covered with food underneath. And it is very well known for pickpocketing and petty crime. But we just took the proper precautions and we were completely fine and never felt threatened. And the Mexican people are really beautiful. They're really wonderful, very warm, very easy to talk to. Here, you know, if you say hi to somebody on the street, that's all you get. But there it's always hi, good morning, hi, good afternoon. good evening. And it's very easy to have an exchange and a conversation with them, especially if you have a Spanish base, like I kind of managed. They're beautiful, warm, really warm people, very exuberant. It's a beautiful city. Yes, there's pollution and it shows on the buildings, but it was very clean. There's a lot of color. There's so much color everywhere. It's vibrant. There's always noise. Always noise. There's people talking. There's people partying. There's music blasting, even in the condo where we were staying. So I love those ACs and the white noise. Those are the best. But it's a beautiful, vibrant country. We really enjoyed it. I can't wait to show you all the content to come. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you that even if a trip can not go as planned in certain areas, you shouldn't let it stop you from really enjoying it and experiencing it as fully as possible. So I'm just going to show you 3 little souvenirs I got. So there's a lot of pottery. There's a lot of crappy souvenir. Like everywhere, it's just crappy souvenir. But we found an artisanal market in Mexico City that you must go to. There's a lot of crap there too, but there's a lot of beautiful things as well. Prices are high. It is a bargaining place. So I just want to show you. Let's see if I can get it into, yeah, there's a delay, so I don't know when this is actually going to show up in the camera. But I just got this beautiful little plate. It's really nice, intricate design. Very simple plate, but I loved it. I just saw it and I loved it. And I didn't get a big bargain off of it, but it was just really, really beautiful and spoke to me. So I'm happy I got it. Of course, Mexico is very famous for all the skulls or skeletons from Dio. Excuse me, I'm still coughing. Thank you, Jesse. So glad you liked the plate. From Dia de los Muertos. So there's a lot of some not brightly colored skulls and some brightly colored skulls. I got a cute little bright colored one at the same market. It's very cute, very small. Didn't pay that much for it. So I asked specifically that he gives me the most Mexican colors. So I chose the yellow, the amarillo. Very happy with it. It's time to end the stream soon. Starting to cough. And last thing I want to show you, there will be, this is Nuestra Santa de la Muerte. And it's very somber for us. There will be a video dedicated to her. She is considered a saint in Mexico, but she is banned by Rome. I'm totally going blank. What is the big place in Rome? The Vatican. So the Vatican has completely banned her, but it is a skeleton female persona, always hooded in a robe, kind of looks like the Virgin Mary, always with a scepter. Sometimes she holds a globe, and I have here an owl, which is typical. Mine has, I didn't know what I was picking when I picked it because I knew about it already beforehand. I had heard about it on the, I think it's the first episode of the show Dark Tourist on Netflix. I had heard about her. And so this is more like a Santeria version where you have all the colors. Every color like represents richness, health, prosperity, love, all that. So this one kind of covers everything. So she's banned by the Vatican, but her popularity has grown from more or less nothing to about 10, 15 million followers in Mexico City too, in 20 years. So it really spoke to me, and I was really curious to learn a lot about it. So yeah, we're definitely going to do a video just about her and about Santa Muerte. Very interesting topic. It was very interesting last day. So that's all I wanted to show you. Yes, exactly. Saint Death. She's the direct translation is Saint Death. And yeah, that's going to be a great video. Definitely have to do more research and look into it. So it's a very interesting country. You see a lot of it's funny that you realize that you're actually still in North America, but there's a bit of a culture shock. It was really interesting. Saw some beautiful things. Their attitude towards death is very different than us. It's a lot more part of life, and we're going to explore that in the videos. So I hope you like this little quick live stream, just to give you kind of like a quick introduction to what the trip is like, and just let you know, if trips don't go as planned, don't let it ruin your trip. Your attitude is what is going to make the trip. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you very soon with all the content from Mexico. It's going to be really exciting. I hope you're going to love it. And on that note, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat box, or drop a comment down if you see this after the actual live stream. If you have anything that you want me to talk about in Mexico, would love to. If you have any suggestions for me to get better soon because I can't eat, I would love that too. So on that note, I am going to say goodbye. Wish you a great Sunday, and remember to always eat and travel outside of your comfort zone. Mwah. Bye. We'll see you soon. And there's always that awkward moment until you actually stop the live stream.